Hello, good afternoon. My name is Lisette de Leon Piñon, and I am currently studying master's degree in English teaching. Today I'm going to explain what I have learned during the course assessment and testing in the classroom. There are a lot of things that I learned. I'm going to start explaining the definition of assessment. Assessment is the systematic collection, review, and use of information about educational programs undertaken for the purpose of improving the student learning and development. I have a key question. Why do we assess students? The measurement of student learning throughout assessment is important because it provides us feedback to both instructors and students about the extent to which students are successfully meeting course learning objectives. There are generally two forms of student assessments that are most frequently discussed in the scholarship of teaching and learning. The first one is summative assessment, which is implemented at the end of the course of study. Summative assessment is comprehensive in nature and it's fundamentally concerned with learning outcomes, while summative assessment is often useful to provide us the information about patterns of student achievement. It does so without providing the opportunity for students to reflect on and demonstrate growth in identified areas for improvement and does not provide an avenue for the instructor to modify teaching strategy during the teaching and learning process. The second kind of assessment is formative. The formative assessment involves the evaluation of student learning over the course of time. Its fundamental purpose is to estimate a student's level of achievement in order to enhance student learning during the learning process. On the other hand, we have also formal and informal assessment. The formal assessment is the way to check out each student's performance objectively. It helps us to know how much a student has learned during the instruction period. Some examples of formal assessments are standardized tests like chapter tests, final exams, graded homework, etc. Now, what about the informal assessment? According to Harris and McCann, 1994, it is a way of collecting information about our students' performance in normal classroom conditions, for example. Some kind of activities, including informal assessments, are short questions about a reading activity, for example, teacher observations, spontaneous activities. It means that there are less obvious when students do these kinds of activities, etc. Well, there is another kind of assessment. I refer to the self-assessment. It provides us useful information about students' expectations and needs, their problems and worries. One of the last topics that I studied was the fundamental principles of testing. The principles are direct and indirect assessments, objective versus subjective assessments, backward and forward-looking assessments, contextualized versus disembodied language, criterion reference and no-reference assessments, reliability versus validity, desirable test characteristics. I'm going to explain some principles. Disembodied language has little or no context. In a testing context, this is most evident in terms in a multiple choice battery based on language usage. Interactive items need a full context in order to function. The closer the items in an integrative test are to stimulating real-world language tasks. the fuller the context must be. The context includes information about communicative purpose, role relationships, channel or communication, etc. About norm reference test, compare students with an average mark or a passing score in order to make some type of pass-fail judgment on them. Norm reference testing is not sensitive to change in standards, even if the overall standard of students rises. Norm reference testing dictates that 50% must still pass and 50% must still fail. Now, the criterion reference assessment compares students not against each other, but with success in performing a task. The results of a criterion reference test can be expressed by continuing the sentence. For example, he or she is able to, where the ability may refer to some small or large interactive language task. Now let's go to the term of reliability. Refers to the consistency of the scoring of the test, both between different routers and between the same router on different occasions. Objective testing should give perfect reliability. On the other hand, we have also validity, that is referred to the instrument presented, measured what is exactly supposed to be measured. The types of validity are content, construct, predictive, and concurrent. We have some desirable test characteristics. We must consider the following points while testing or going to develop a test appraisal system. For example, utility, discrimination, practicality, reliability, and validity. Well, my conclusion is that assessment plays an important role in classroom settings because it allows us to consider how to measure the learning that as a teacher I want my students to achieve. Assessment should integrate grading, learning, and motivation for our students. This course was useful for me to improve my teaching practice because I can apply different types of assessments according to the characteristics of my students, such as the characteristics of the classroom environment. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you, Professor. I hope you like my explanation, and thank you for your good comments in my assignments. Goodbye.